Kenyans with a family in the United States are bracing for a fresh financial squeeze after U.S. President Donald Trump signed a new law taxing every shilling they send home. The 1% remittance tax, part of a controversial budget plan, could strip more than 3 billion shillings a year from cash sent back to Kenya. Tonight, we break down how this tiny cut could take a big bite out of the lives of Kenyans who depend on their loved ones abroad.
So ever since Trump became president, I think he's really punished, especially Africa. He's really punished Africa and some parts of the rest of the world. I think people like China have an advantage because they can fight back. But for us Africans, we are just on the receiving end. So U.S.A was withdrawn, meaning most NGOs have to close, meaning the financial aid we used to get will be reduced tremendously. Then still, with this other thing in his bill, though it was reduced to 1%, it will affect us hugely because those people sending, they'll feel like they'll be sending less because of the taxation. And some will also try to evade sending through that system and I think there'll be penalties to those people who will try to send money using backdoor. So as much as I was for Trump, some of the bills and some of the ideas that he's pushing are really affecting us as Africans.
More than 100,000 Kenyans live and work in the United States, sending money back home to support their families. But now, there's a new twist. President Donald Trump's administration has passed a law imposing a 1% tax on every amount sent from the U.S. to Kenya and other parts of the world by migrants. Back home, these funds help Kenyans working abroad invest and take care of their loved ones. But how will this new tax squeeze those wallets?
If I send $1,000 from the US to somebody in Kenya, they will impose almost $50 out of that 1,000. So you'll pay $50 in taxes. That's a big chunk of money to go on taxes. It's 1%, but it's still a lot of money.
According to John Maina, the executive director of Center for Diaspora Affairs, the 1% may be considered minute, but once calculated a wholesome, the amount is staggering. According to Dr. Shem Ochuodho, the chairperson of the Kenya Diaspora Alliance, and I quote, "It is good that it has come down from the original proposal, but it still will affect us. The Trump administration is a threat to multilateralism. We are living in very dicey times." To estimate the impact, last year alone, Kenyans living in the US sent more than 53% of all the money coming into the country from abroad, a lump sum of over 640 billion shillings. This means if the new tax had been in place, the US would have pocketed more than 3 billion shillings as government revenue, an amount President Trump says.
So last year they sent 320 billion, meaning with this bill in play, they'll be sending less. And if you also factor in that it will be taxed, so the money coming from US will be significantly reduced. And that will really, really affect our dwindling economy.
More than 3 billion shillings as government revenue, an amount President Trump says is small compared to what America spends to host foreign workers, including over 100,000 Kenyans. Despite that, experts warn that even a small tax could push Kenyans to look for other ways to send money home, ways that may not be as safe or secure.
Well, I'm sure they will have to become very creative. Kenyans in the US will have to find a way to still send their kind of money they want to send to their families without being penalized with that 1% tax.